Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about my favourite mystery/thriller books. So I'm going to give you a bunch of book recommendations that I think are really good and you should go and read them if you're interested in the mystery/thriller genre. Okay, so I've got my laptop in front of me with some notes for these books because I didn't want to leave anything out and I wanted to explain them a bit better than I usually do. So, the first book on my list is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelite? Yeah, I don't know how you pronounce his name, but The Silent Patient. So this is a psychological thriller and there's basically this girl called Alicia who's a painter and she's married, and then one day she shoots her husband and never speaks again. So in this book, we follow Theo, who's a criminal psychotherapist, and he's basically really fascinated by Alicia, who's the silent patient, and he gets a job in like Alicia's secure forensic unit and tries to figure out what happened basically. And it has a very mind-blowing end, which I guess is why I put it as like one of my favorites. It kind of follows like Theo's point of view, but also follows some of Alicia's diary entries prior to her husband got shot. So you kind of already know what happened at the end, but then at the same time, do you? Yeah, so in like the present time, Alicia is not speaking, but you get to know her throughout her like diary entries, which is very intriguing. So I definitely recommend The Silent Patient. And then the next book is Before I Go to Sleep by S.J. Watson. So there's actually a movie of this as well, I think it's on Netflix. I think it got put on Netflix recently. And this is another psychological thriller. It follows Christine, and she basically wakes up every morning and it's like a new memory. So she wakes up and she does not remember what happened in like the past few months, years. I can't remember how old she thinks she is, but basically she thinks she's like much younger than she is. And then she looks in the mirror and sees clearly she's not that age anymore. And she doesn't know her surroundings. She lives with her husband and she doesn't know the husband, doesn't recognize him or anything. So we're following Christine's point of view, but basically the husband explains that she had like an accident and she got like brain damage from it, and this is her like new life now. She can't retain memories from recent events, but basically she starts writing things down and keeping a track of her days and like reads it back every day, and it turns out some things are like not matching up. So she doesn't really know what to believe, like what's true, what's not, what actually happened to her. And we basically follow her on the whole journey of like finding out how she got to this point and what happened to her and just who are the people who are in her life, which I thought was really interesting. And again, I don't think I've seen the movie, but it's definitely on my list to watch because I really enjoyed the book. I do know a movie is a bit of a different plot in terms of like what actually happened to her, I think, but both of them are very intriguing. Okay, the next book is The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. So technically this is two books, The Housemaid and The Housemaid's Secret, and both of these are mystery thriller vibes. So it basically follows Millie, who takes a job as a housemaid at the Winchesters, this wealthy family basically, and there's dark secrets from both sides. So Millie's hiding stuff, the Winchesters are hiding stuff, and there's also a bit of a romance subplot going on. So it's it's definitely an interesting one. And there's also a lot of twists and turns of trying to like figure out what is actually going on. Frida McFadden writes in a way where it's like she lets us believe that like one of the characters is to blame for the whole thing. Like she makes it really obvious, and then it turns out they're not the one to blame at all. So both the housemaid and the housemaid secret had like rich families with secrets, and obviously Millie, and it's just been really interesting to see what actually happens in the end and like how things fold out. Frida McFadden has really put some thought into these stories. Yeah, there's so much thought in these series as books. Sometimes I find that with like mysteries and thrillers, it gets a bit confusing. But with Frida McFadden's books, it's just seemed so obvious, and it doesn't. There's some things that I'm like, but then you understand, and yeah, I really enjoy when it's not that confusing. It's just simply mind blowing. So I definitely recommend those books too. And there's also a number 3 book coming out in the Housemaid series. I'm not sure when, but as far as I heard, it's in the works. Okay, the next book/book series is One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. So this is a bit of a different one. This is a YA mystery series, and there's also a Netflix series which in my opinion has a completely different plot. Like the start of it, yeah, okay, but then it goes off on a completely different angle. Both of them are very good, but I think I do prefer the books with this one. So the One of Us is Lying, the first book, there's a bunch of characters and there's a lot of people to keep track of, but at the same time, because it's YA and they're like teenagers in a high school, it's not as bad as mysteries get. You know what I mean? And basically these 4-5 kids are in detention, and one of them dies, and the police is trying to figure out who in the detention room killed that one kid. And there's a lot of like high school drama, gossip situations going on, a lot of kind of bullying, and not necessarily bullying, just mean girls and mean boys and all that. And then it gets like a bit more serious as well, like violence and just general death, and so much stuff goes on. There's also social media brought into it, which is interesting. I don't really like usually social media in like books and stories, because I always think, I don't know why, I just think I prefer it without. But in this book, I think it portrayed the kids so much better, and the kind of drama aspect to it, you needed like the social media for it. And there's a lot of, you know, friendships and family going on, also some romantic relationships, which was really interesting to explore. And further down the One of Us is Lying series, they're not like in high school anymore. They go into like adulthood and university work, and it's interesting to see like where everyone goes and how it's going, and you kind of just follow them through multiple years. And I always like it when you can get attached to the characters, because you don't just see like a week, a month of their life, you see like a whole, journey that they go on. So yeah, I definitely recommend. On that note, I do actually recommend Karen McManus's other mystery novels. I think most of them are YA, but yeah, all of them have a different kind of mystery plot that needs solving, and there's a lot of clues dropped throughout. Always a lot of friendship and found family. I've read all her books so far, and all of them have been great in like a different way. When it starts off, it kind of seems like similar to other books, but once you get into the mystery, it's always something new. So I definitely recommend her books. And lastly, we have Verity by Colleen Hoover. So this is a thriller slash romance book. This book follows Lowen, who's a writer, and she basically accepts a job of finishing this famous author's series. So this famous author, Verity, she had like an accident and she's like really ill, so she can't carry on her book series, and Lowen gets hired to finish it for her based on the notes she's made. And she has to move in with them. So there's the Verity, there's her husband, and there's Lowen, and I think there's a kid as well. So they kind of live together, and it's kind of like a haunted house vibe, but at the same time it's not. It's just the way it's like set up. And Lowen finds an autobiography in like Verity's notes of like her new book, and kind of reads it, and there's a lot of like secrets and drama going on between Verity, her children, and the husband. And yeah, there's just a lot of things going on. And then the romance subplot is like she falls in love with the husband while like living with the husband and the injured wife, which I don't know if that's like morally okay. I guess it could be like morally grey, but when you like, as you like go along, you like find things out, which, yeah, I don't know how. Okay, I'm really bad at explaining this because there's so many things I want to say, but I'm like, no, wait, that's a spoiler. Yeah, basically, two writers, a husband, some kids, and a very interesting story. Let me know if you read any of these recommendations, because all of them are pretty good in my opinion, and I'd love to chat about them if you guys are interested. That's the end of this video. Maybe it was a bit of a quick one, but I hope I got through the points that I wanted to make, and I hope you enjoyed. Give it a like, subscribe, comment down below what you want to see more of, and see you next time.